Kotaku dropped a bombshell article written by Jason Scheer titled, "The Messy True Story Behind the Making of Destiny." And he did a 13-month investigation where speaking to real Bungie devs and X1s anonymously. Because the devs were not allowed to talk about this publicly, is why it was done anonymously. Boom. Anyways, so Joe Staten wrote the original story to Destiny from the end of Reach all the way up until the summer of 2013. He spent writing it. So that was about 3 years he spent. And he made a supercut of the story to show to the lead Bungie devs, you know, the final certificate of approval, where you'd write the story, and then you show your editor / supervisor or whatever, you'd show them, all right, here's what I came up with here, what do you think of it? And then they said it was too linear and campy. That was an actual quote. So what they ended up doing was taking that elaborate, amazing story, and they chopped it up into what we got now. And they took basically the set pieces, but they rewrote the story completely. And so here's some facts that are in time and stuff. In February 2013, journalists were invited to Bungie headquarters, where they described it as having swamps in Chicago and fighting all the way out to the rings of Saturn, is what was described in Destiny. So they hyped up the thing. The reason why Destiny got so much hype in the beginning was because the journalists were showed back in February of 2013 the potential of Destiny, and that's another reason why the Activision machine and Bungie hype machine worked so well, is because they actually showed off something worth hyping. And that's something I just realized now, was there's almost nothing you could have done at this point because you were showed a 10 out of 10 game. Of course you're going to de-write it. Of course you didn't know Destiny how bad it was going to be until that fucking final version was out when on release date. And that's pretty much the unanimous agreement that most, even people who disagree with how good Destiny was, even B. Dobbins, he even made excuses on why nobody could have saw this coming. And so even the journalists were fooled, and so I actually gotta give them some credit, because they were really fooled, because they were showed in February 2013 how good it could have been. And so if you would have showed me Destiny how good it could have been in 2013, I probably would have bought into the hype hugely and then been disappointed. So anyways, in the summer of 2013, a year before the release, the story got a reboot, and I wrote, hacked job similar to a hand job in the cold and with dry hands. So it'd be just a shitty hand job. That's based by facts. So the OG story was built around Rasputin, and the Hive kidnapped him and they took him to the Dreadnought. And I quote, "The entire last third took place on the Dreadnought rescuing Rasputin. And there was some concept art before Destiny came out of a bloody exo. It turns out that was Rasputin. In a later DLC, we would learn that bloody exo was just a puppet being controlled by the Warmind." Like, as you see now, the Warmind being really important in Destiny's story now, even though we don't know shit, and even important in everything basically still. We still don't know why. It's because actually in the OG story, the whole thing was around him, and now it makes a lot more sense to you the more I tell you how the story should have been. That's kind of fucked up. But anyways, yeah. Osiris was the Obi-Wan Kenobi character. He was a mentor living in an ancient Vex temple on Mercury. And they reused the area from Trials of Osiris, the lighthouse, and that was where he would be, and he'd give you sage-like advice. and I wrote down that. All right, next page. In the OG story, you'd meet the Crow, the guy from the one trailer, you know, the one where he's like, out here in the wild, this is how we talk. When your character's all like, why don't you put your gun away? That's my imitation of the trailer. But you worked with him to find Osiris. And the Crow was the roguish type, much like Han Solo, I wrote. And then they said and then he was much like Cade 6, but I'm going to go a step further and say Han Solo, since we're going to keep up the Obi-Wan Kenobi references and stuff. So, the story missions always began with the 30-45 second cutscenes, short mini cutscenes setting up the mission's context, aka that dialogue where the ghost gives. Imagine that fully elaborated and actually good. Then, an example of this would be Osiris asking you to dig up an old Vex tech on Mars, or the Crow in the middle of a firefight fighting the Fallen on Venus, you know, building up anticipation with the music growing in the background, and you're just like, oh god, I can't wait to get in a fight. And how about Crow? Yeah, that's not there in the game anymore. Now you just got the ghost going, these dudes are bad. Go kill Fogoth. He's in the dungeon, I think. Yeah, so that's what we have now. Moving on. Every mission ended with a full 3 to 5 minute cutscene. Like, like, just amazing. Bungie, I even came up with really good cutscenes in my head, so just me in my head came up with how good this game could have been. And imagine how good if you fucking had a fully $1 million, you know, staff budget writing the story. It would have been the greatest thing ever, but that's off topic. Bungie employee described the story as being highly esoteric, aka complex, deep, and engaging would be the only way you'd understand it. He tried to say that in a bad way, but once again, I go, that's actually a good thing. And I wrote down, because we had that in Zombies from World of War to Black Ops 1. We had that in Halo. We had that in most amazing games. If you literally dive deeper into the game, there's amazing lore. Just look at the people who play Dark Souls. They tell you that. They're like, Dark Souls is so good because there's so much lore behind with the artificial front or the main story you do. There's layers to this shit. And also, it's like that with anything. Art, music. If you just take the face value of it, it'll be good. If you go deeper, it becomes godly. Like, there's no fucking joke about that. So, anyways, and another guy said it was very cool and very powerful. It unraveled and solved an entire mystery. Didn't leave you wanting more, like how the shitty story did. It actually had a point and, you know, plot and all that other shit. Anyways. A third person said the supercut didn't do the story justice, and that was kind of the theme. Everybody said the supercut was kind of meh. It wasn't the best. And to his defense, though, how do you fucking take something as deep as the story it was, and you have to show them the supercut of it? And I'm not going to sit here and defend it, but you get the point. He made one of the greatest stories of all time, and they're like, chop this down and show us to it in a presentation. I'm like, dance, puppet, dance. Anyways, the studio took issue with the rhythm of the story and progression. You'd go from Earth, Moon, Venus, and Mars within the first few missions, and I wrote down, note, in Yahtzee's review of this from Zero Punctuation, he said the tempo from going planet to planet at the start was amazing, and it was one of his favorite points. But I mean, to his defense, it was a drive game anyway, so that would seem like fun. But imagine you spend like your first 6 missions of the game bouncing from planet to planet to planet. You'd be hyped up. You'd be like, dude, I don't know what's coming next. This game's got me on the edge of my seat, bouncing around, shitting on fucking Cabal, Vex, Fallen, those dickheads on Hive, this dickhead Hive. You'd be bouncing around everywhere doing all this cool shit. And of course, you know, the lead Bungie guys are probably like, I can't compute, only know money, don't know fun, I don't understand. Yeah, so that's pretty much how that conversation had to have gone. But anyways, Jason Jones wanted a less linear story. One-on-one where you players would go and decide where they would go next at any given time. And I made a note. They basically wanted an open world game without being open world. And what I mean by this is, they wanted the story and like how good and amazing and grasping it was like Halo and Portal, but they wanted it to be open like Grand Theft Auto and Shadow of Mordor. It doesn't work because in games like Grand Theft Auto and Shadow of Mordor, so I'd take Grand Theft Auto. When I played through it, I literally banged out that story as much as possible. When I played Shadow of Mordor, I took my time on it. I ended up getting sidetracked, and it kind of took away from the thing. But in games like Portal 2 and Halo 2, I literally straight shot at it. Could not put it down. I literally had to beat it because it was just so fucking grasping. I remember playing Portal and I was just like, I can't wait for the next dialogue. Fuck this gameplay. All I care about is how amazing the story is. When I did Halo 2, same thing. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for the next fucking... I can't wait for Cortana and fucking Chief and the Arbiter and everybody keep telling me what's going on. This is amazing. I can't wait to see the game unfold right in front of me as I play it. And this dickhead Jason Jones is like, can you pick where you go next? Because that's all I care about. I'm dumb. I just want to go somewhere next. God damn it. Oh, I want to go to the tower and jerk off? I should be allowed. I'm like, no, fuck you. You tell me. Like, this dickhead, he'd be like, I want to watch a movie, but I want to skip from chapter to chapter. And then fucking you got Steven Spielberg like, no. Here, I have this fucking amazing vision in my head. Let me show you. And he's like, no, I think I know how to watch your movie more than you know how to watch your movie. Okay, dude? That's basically how that exactly went. The fucking the guy's a dickhead. He doesn't know anything. Fire his ass. Fire him. Anyways, next. We got July 2013, they cut the old story, but kept most of the lore and grimoire into the game. And this has been my part 1. I have a lot more to come, so stay tuned. This has been Gangster 7. A lot more to come. Oh god, I'm about to jizzle all over this shitty scheme. Oh. No, but seriously though, this is like, I really read this article front to back. I'm reading it twice. This thing is amazing. I recommend everybody check this out. It's on Kotaku. I'll leave it in the link in my channel. This is part 1. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, let me know your comments, let me know your thoughts on this, read it, tell me your thoughts, tell me how much you think this fucking game would have been great. But anyways, peace out.